What's up, everybody? Jordan Miller here with Run 2 Gun, here with my friend and acquaintance. You started off as that for a lot of years. My friend Justin Broveak, and we have kind of a cool story about how we met. It goes back several years. Met in the gym where I worked at, you trained at.
Yes.
And let's get into that a little bit. Justin, tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Okay.
What you do, and then we're going to get into the story a little bit about we have that started, like 3 years ago?
Yeah, roughly. Well, maybe initially 10 years ago, but more in depth and more detailed about 3 years ago,
Yeah,
so,
it's kind of crazy.
I'm from Sioux Falls originally. I have been in the finance industry or so for the last 17 years, doing collections, repossessions, mortgage underwriting, various things like that. We met at the gym. We met at Fitness 19 years ago when that was open. I was a member there. Yeah, 2011.
Yeah.
I was a member there. Saw you basically every day, training clients or whatever, and we just started talking through, seeing you every day.
Right.
And then I go to Great Life, and you went to Great Life, and our story just continued on, and then now we just kind of talk to you through Facebook, and ask you about questions about fishing, hunting, things like that.
Right.
We have a lot of commonalities. I fish, I hunt, I fish, I train. So that's kind of...
Yeah, we're in the gym in the mornings a lot of times at the same time. It's one of those things you just see each other and you're just like,
hello.
You're crushing it. Like, not going to get in your way crushing, but we always take a few minutes to say hi and catch up a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how 3 years ago then, right? Are we at 3 years when you kind of were thinking about changing career paths a little bit? Was that about my timeline?
Yeah, timeline's about right. Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to see how many credits I needed to finish my nursing degree. Out of high school, I started for nursing, and life kind of got messy, got in the way, and I never finished it.
Sure.
Over the course of 10-ish years, I took some night classes here or there, and working towards it, and I just never really finished it. I never allowed myself to complete it. And then I checked about 3 years ago, and I only needed 6 credit hours before I could apply for the nursing program. So I took those credit hours at night, and I applied to the program, got accepted, and then that was about a year. It took me about a year to get those night classes done.
Sure.
And then the last 2 years have been full-time nursing school. So
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So we were in the gym that day.
Yeah, the day I found out that I got accepted.
Yeah, you got accepted. What's going through your mind that day? We end up running into each other, and we talked for 15 or 20 minutes that day, I think.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind if you remember?
So I had a mild panic attack or something. I don't know. I thought I was having a heart attack. I ended up going to the acute care before I went to the gym because I'm like, I don't feel right, and my blood pressure was high, heart rate was high, and the doc was like, just go relax, go, I was like, well, can I go lift, because that's what I do, and he's like, well, I don't want you to lift today, or maybe if you do, go really light, but go move, go do, stay active. So I went to the gym. I think I was walking on the treadmill, and I was just super slow, and I'm sure I was pale, and just kind of like hanging onto the sides or something like that. And then you walked in, and we did the whole hey, what's going on thing, and then you walked up and we started talking.
Yeah.
And that was really cathartic, kind of. I think I even messaged you like an hour or two after I got home and said, hey, thanks for coming up and talking to me, because I told you I was having really bad anxiety about although it was it's a big triumph, getting accepted, and it's a big deal. It's a big accomplishment. It was terrifying, because I've been, working full time for how long? I was going to lose benefits. I was going to lose, health insurance. I was going to lose a full-time paycheck. I was going to move back in with my mom so that I didn't have to finance, living expenses. At this, I do the smart thing financially, and all that just kind of hit me hard. Yeah. And that was it was difficult. So again, I thank you for taking that little bit of time to talk to me and kind of calm me down or bring me back to reality, and how cool it was and how exciting it was. Because for that moment, I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah, it's just it was really cool because you talk about those moments in life where it's like, for all of us, you don't know when you're going to have just a little conversation with somebody that really just helps, like in our case, just helps you take a step back, take a deep breath, and just that little bit of, in this case, it was just encouragement that, hey, this is great. Yeah. And you never know when you're running into somebody that you could actually have a meaningful impact with. We always think of things on this large scale of people that are famous or whatever it is that, that I wish I could have the impact that person does. When you really don't realize that on a day-to-day basis, the impact guys like us and people like you have on just, whether it be a friend of yours or somebody you run into at the grocery store.
Right. These
little opportunities that are actually at our fingertips every single day that we have to make positive impacts and empowerment to people. And it was just like that day we just ended up chatting a little bit. I could just kind of tell, like, hey, something was up, and we talked for a little bit. And it was just, hey, you talk to somebody, you encourage, you listen, and that, it was just one of those things. Like, I was stoked for you,
right?
And
well, we don't even see each other. Like, for a while there, we saw each other every day. But then, your job has changed and things like that. So, the time frame in between, that we see each other has grown. So, like, for you to come in on that day, when I was there, was kind of cool. Especially, when I was, struggling like that. I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. The serendipity of it all,
right?
Like how it's meant to be is so cool. Which then leads us to basically 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I swinging same gym, almost the same spot.
Yeah.
And like you're sitting there hitting a lift, like you can tell you're focused. So I was like getting my shoes on, getting my pre-workout, and like you got in between sets and like said hi, asked what was going on, and you're like,
hey, I graduate. Yeah, I got a job lined up, and 2 years went like that. It's like from freak out day to, well, now another type of freak out day.
Exactly.
But it's not as bad. It's like a sense of accomplishment. Like it took me how long to do it, but I did it, and I decided it for myself. Hey, I didn't let anything stop me like I did in the past. I'd start and then I'd stop because, I'd let something, this is a better thing for me. Well, this time it's like, no, I focused 2 years, basically kind of tunnel vision, for the most part. Hey, I want to do this for me, and I completed it. And that day was, I was so excited.
Yeah, and then like just running in and talking to you about that, how it's like we went from that conversation to you accomplishing the goal.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool how we ran in. And I was like, dude, this is a podcast.
Yeah.
Like we need to talk about. So scheduled it up.
Yeah.
Here filming it.
Here it is.
And it's just super cool. A couple things I heard you say. Like one of the things you said right at the beginning, I thought was interesting how you worded it was, you were like, I started it right out of high school, but I didn't allow myself to finish it.
Yeah.
Like interesting mindset. And then you go to, hey, I got tunnel vision here. When I decided that, hey, I'm doing this for me. Mm-hmm. Interesting, like how you said, like I didn't allow myself to do it. How frequent do you think that is in just people today?
I think very frequent. I mean, you get comfortable. I would get comfortable in a relationship, or I would get comfortable in a job or something. And it's like, I can do that. I can do that later. Right now, this is good. This is what's going on. And then those things would fade, or those things would change, and then it would leave me wondering, well, I should have finished that, 2 years ago when I thought about it. So that's when I would start another class, and then, something similar would come along, and then I'd get comfortable, and I wouldn't, I would just mentally would be like, I'd stay where I'm at. I wouldn't have that vision to see forward, So
you're kind of like putting these short-term opportunities that popped up ahead of your long-term goals,
right?
The big picture goals,
right? They would satisfy or make me happy for a brief amount of time when this long-term goal is something that wouldn't satisfy me for even longer.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean by I wouldn't allow myself because I would just I'll put that aside and we'll do that later. And then I decided what, no, this is happening. So.
What do you think was the mindset switch for you from all the years of that to finally just being like, I'm gonna quit my full-time job. I'm gonna lose my pay, my benefits. I'm gonna go live with my parents. I'm gonna, sacrifice this for the betterment. What was the mindset switch to make you risk all of that for this path?
Well, one, I guess I wasn't getting any younger. I was thinking over the course of a couple of weeks. Hey, my birthday's coming up. This is something I had one of those talks with myself, like, is this really where you want to work? Are you really, do I want to apply to a different company? Am I a finance guy? I kind of decided, I wasn't really. And I was like, now be a perfect time to start. I wasn't committed to anything. I was working, but I wasn't married or no kids or anything like that. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to finish and to just focus on me, so that I can become better for if I do get married, if I do have kids, so that way I can put my best person forward, in that relationship or whatever, the friendship or whatever the case might be. And just the different possibilities, job wise. If I want to work, travel, just the job itself has always interested me.
Sure.
And then, like I said, just the different opportunities. I like to travel. I like mountains. So being able to do all these different things and with the profession was also kind of a tipping point. So
yeah. So fitness and health's always been a big part of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you've trained. I've seen you train for the last almost decade. Mm-hmm. Or I should say, do you think the discipline that you have with that, the consistency, just the building into a lifestyle, do you think that helped you or had any effect in your success with buckling down with finishing this goal, going back to school, going through the nursing program, doing all that? Do you think it plays a role at all for you?
Oh, I think it played a huge role. I don't think I missed a training day, even during the 2 years of nursing school. I mean, and then the school was, I'm sure other people who have done nursing school know. I mean, you're 8 to 5 essentially school, and then you study, 7 till 1 or minute. You're studying, so it's full time. And that 5 to, when I left the school, 5 to 7 or whatever my free time was, I went to the gym. So that really allowed it. One, it relieved a lot of stress, and two, it helped me maintain that discipline. Like, you have excuses, you have for this, but no, I still did it. And even if I did a 12-hour clinical, I went from at 8 o'clock, I went to the gym till 10, and then I would study from 10:30ish, 11 till 2. So like I still worked in my training. I still ate right. I still counted my macros. I still did everything, and I prepared. I would bring my food to school.
Right.
I would bring my oatmeal and protein powder mixed in, and I would pour my water in it in class, and I would eat it. So it's like I carried that through the 2 years, and it would be so easy to say, no, I'm going to do school. I'm not going to care how I eat. I'm not going to, or I might care, but I'll be a little more lax. And I, maybe train 3 days a week or on the weekends or something like that. And
right.
No, I didn't. I stuck with my lifestyle that I have always had.
Yeah.
So
pretty awesome. So even a second thing now that I heard you say, you were like, hey, that day you were feeling 3 years ago, you're feeling all that stress, that anxiety. You went to acute care because you thought you were having a heart attack. But what you said to the doctor when he said, hey, you're good, go relax. You were like, can I go work out? Mm-hmm. Like, dude, there is no better, antidepressant, anti-anxiety. There's no better way for that than training. So, you go to the gym, where do you, you find that stress reliever, you say? Mm-hmm. How can that help other people, too? Finding fitness, or maybe they've been sporadic throughout their fitness journey or they want to get it going. Yeah. How can it help them in their everyday life?
Well, you don't even have to go to the gym. I will just take a 10-minute walk in between study. So I'll study for 60 minutes, then I'll go walk around the block for 10 minutes. So even if you don't want to go to the gym, or hey, that's not my thing, or whatever the case, find something to stay active and to stay because it helps the mind. It helps you focus on things that it helps you refocus. I found so many times that when I would take that 10-minute break or 15-minute break and just go walk, even in the wintertime, and on nice days, I would put on my coat, my stocking hat. I would just walk around the block, because getting outside and just relieving that stress that's going on mentally, you disconnect from what you're doing. Yeah. And coming back helps you reconnect and refocus on your goals or on your studying or on your job. You take a walk while you're working. Yeah. So I think even just making those small little commitments and changes to towards a big goal of maybe joining a gym at one point once you just if you start to like what you're doing, or if you start to feel, hey, walking 10 minutes a day for the last 3 weeks, I've lost 5 pounds.
Right.
Or seeing small changes like that, I think, is a way to incorporate it.
Yeah, people don't realize that their overall daily activity and movement equates to much more calorie burn than just their 30-minute or hour workout. Mm-hmm. Like your just total activity throughout the day and what you do. So that part's crazy to me. Right. Like, but it's like what you said. It's just that, hey, it brings you back, refocuses you, and it breeds positive energy. That's my biggest thing. We talked about this in a past podcast where it was like, training, working out, health is so much more than the physical. Yeah. It is that mental aspect and where you gain that discipline that just carries over to so many different aspects of our lives. Right. And just the mental health aspect of what being healthy, making healthy choices, and exercising does for you.
Well, yeah, like you said, it carries over into your life. So the discipline, like with me sticking with school or with training through school, there was a lot of times where classmates would be like, "Oh, this test is gonna suck," or I'm like, "You can do it." Like you have to have a positive mindset. I'm like, "You can do it." If you're not gonna pass if you talk that, you talk that way. You talk down to yourself. And then you put this thought out there to other people, like, oh yeah, well, maybe they won't pass.
Well, and you're like a decade ahead of just in life, ahead of some of these probably classmates you had. Yeah. So you probably got to go in there and be that positive influence to somebody that hasn't experienced all the life you have.
Right. Some of them, it's kind of funny, a couple of the gals would call me dad. Yeah. Because they're 20 or 19 or whatever, and I'm 37, so it's like, I would before every test, I'd positive talk myself, while I'm driving there, because you have to stay positive. You have, it's hard. You have to, no matter how hard you prepare, or, even for a hunt, how much training you do. You might get up the third hill and be like, you're winded. It's like, oh man, this is harder than I thought it was going to be while I was training, and you still have to have that. Well, I got to go 3 more miles or 3 more, bluffs or hills or whatever the case. I have to get over there to that point, and it's the same thing. You have to talk to yourself, and you have to have that positive relationship with yourself. And
I 100% agree. And you don't hear people talk about that often. A lot of times you get into certain areas in life, and one of the only things you have left is your own voice. Yeah. And your own voice better be positive. Because it's so, hey, we have the whole rest of the world and social media and everything like that wants to talk down or be negative to us, that, hey, we have to learn to have that positive talk to ourselves. I can honestly say, like, there's many times I could have just quit driving with Run to Gun if I didn't have my own positive talk, to outweigh all the self-doubts that creep in. That you just have to learn to just talk to yourself, and do it positively. Exactly.
I mean, you could have as much support around you, but if you don't have the positive thought process or positive image or your goals that you're striving for, that support around you is not going to do you any good. Right. I mean, you're still going to be stuck where you are. You're still going to fail if you allow yourself to fail. And, so you have to work in conjunction with your support system. That's another thing that got me through the 2 years. I had a lot of support from my family, my mom and friends, because friendships, they fell kind of to the wayside. I didn't have time, so 2 years, some friends quit talking to me. Yep. Which I'm not okay with, but I had to do. I was doing something, and some friends stuck with me, and for that I'm grateful. Hopefully I can rekindle things that were lost in the past. But being thankful and maintaining that connect with the support system, along with your self-positive talk, I think was huge for me for the last 2 years. Yeah. So
pretty crazy. I mean, it goes to show you how every single person in every aspect of life has these trials, tribulations, and these positive outlooks and positive influences that can just fire up somebody else around them. Mm-hmm. So no matter how little at times you as an individual may feel like you don't understand the impact of you going after something or doing something, like no matter what you do in life, you have that opportunity to have that positive impact. It's pretty amazing. Right. So you do a ton of rock. Well, you were before school started. You got busy, but you've always, one of your passions was rock climbing.
Rock climbing, yeah, I do. I did a lot of that. Not like I said, you said not so much during school. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to getting back into. Now I lead a camp out in the Black Hills for high school kids.
Yeah.
Teach them how to rock climb, kind of get them involved in the sport. So I'm really looking forward to doing that this summer. I did it last summer, but this summer hopefully I'm able to take a few extra days and stay out there myself and do some climbing.
Right.
And then get back involved with some of the climbing around town here because another buddy of mine and I started, we didn't start, but we kind of draw more attention to some of the local climbing and raise more awareness for some of that. So hopefully to get back into some of that. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, and that obviously takes a little bit of physical to it, but you're out in nature, which we talk about with the hunting side of things all the time. But this really combines that whole fitness and nature thing all over again with the climbing. So.
It does, and just being outside, reconnecting and refocusing, climbing up the side of a cliff or a rock wall or whatever the case, you're really just thinking about you and making it to the top, and once you get to the top, you're thinking about your sense of accomplishments, and you're thinking about you look down, I just did that. Similar to the 3 weeks ago when we met.
Yeah,
I was at the top and I was looking down at that's where I was, and now this is where I am, and it's just really cool,
dude. Pretty awesome. I love the story. I love. He was all scared this morning before we got started about what we were going to talk about, and I'm like. He's over here. I don't even have to speak in this podcast.
My back is still sweaty, I think.
Very articulate. I love it. If you're going to leave our viewers with something here today, obviously you had a ton of advice throughout that, but somebody who is thinking about making a change or diving into a goal, they're afraid to go for it. What's your word of advice for them?
Oh, jeez, I'd say do it. Because you're only going to learn even if you fail. You're going to learn what you did wrong, and you're going to learn a new way to attempt. Because I failed for how many years, and finally I realized, okay, these are the things that are weighing me down and that are making me fail. And I made the change mentally and physically. I was like, no, I'm not falling in those traps again. And I cut the cord from them, and I went on. So it's, whether you fail or whether you succeed, you learn along the way what works and what doesn't work for you personally. So,
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Do you share any of your journey side of things, Instagram, social medias, anything like that?
No, I don't know. I have a Instagram thing, but it's not. I don't know. It's just kind of
any of our
random pics or whatever. I mean, it's not any I don't know.
Sure. If any of our listeners want to follow your journey on Instagram, where do they find you?
It's just Justin Broveak, Broveak. So it's just my name.
Perfect. Maybe we'll see some rock climbing stuff on there with you.
Maybe we'll see you rock climbing.
Dude, I want to get out there and do that. It's something that I've been wanting to do because I honestly I've wanted to do it for a couple years, and then I go and watch Free Solo here a couple months ago, and I definitely don't want to do anything like that. But I'd love to I love the Black Hills so much, and honestly, the Palisades up here are so much fun that it is something that's on the list that I need to go. Yeah. To go do.
We'll get you out there,
dude, and we should film it.
Black Hills.
It'd be pretty sweet. We should do it. When
Black
do you go?
Hills with the drone, see you climbing up there.
Yes, make me look cooler than I am.
The mountain will really be like this big.
Get some good depth perception on there, make it look like we're really high.
Yeah.
I'll be 6 feet off the ground. But I'm not. I shouldn't say I'm afraid of heights, but I am a little uncomfortable on some
Sure.
But I suppose that's normal to be up on some rough stuff, to be a little uncomfortable.
It is. A couple of the guys actually I climb with or have climbed with are really scared of heights, but when they rock climb, it's not even a thought in their mind.
Different.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to get out there. We need to make that happen. That's just a whole other adventure I want to tackle. So that would be awesome. Hopefully we can have some YouTube stuff going on with that. If there is, we'll get it posted. We'll probably do another podcast together if we do that as well. So thanks for jumping on today's podcast, listening to a little bit of Justin's story and our story together, and just what that going for it really is. Just to hopefully encourage you a little bit that if you have something that you're wanting to go after, even if you failed at going after it for years, or in Justin's case, a decade, if that it's never too late just to say yes and just to try again. and just make that mental switch, the physical switch, to really just turn things around and go for it. It's never too late to actually just go for it, no matter how impossible it may seem, no matter how the odds may seem really small for you to accomplish it. You can decide to make that decision and turn it on and make a positive influence.
How
for
scary
yourself.
it might be.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying. Like, I know, hey, I'm going through it too right now with some decisions I want to make, for the business, for other decisions. And it's like, man, like, it's risky. Mm-hmm. It's super risky, but sometimes it's like, hey, I'd rather have that risk and fail at it than regret not trying. Yeah. And that's where it's at. So, jump on, leave a review, leave a comment if you like this podcast. If you think it would be great for somebody else to listen to, that it might encourage, share it with them as well. Thanks for jumping on the Live Beyond Average podcast today.
Thanks, guys.